Greetings, sisters, on this Sunday before Valentine's Day. Let us spend a couple of minutes clearing away some of the patriarchal rubbish that surrounds this modern, I think, screwed up so-called celebration of Valentine's Day. Most men absolutely hate Valentine's Day. And it's not because they don't wish to honor or recognize or show their appreciation and love for women. And most women aren't that comfortable with Valentine's Day either. So what is the situation with Valentine's Day in America right now? Let's talk about men first. Men hate Valentine's Day so much that in order to avoid the whole day, a fairly large percentage of men actually choose to break up with their partner on the Tuesday before Valentine's Day. And this is such a common phenomenon that it even has its own name, Red Tuesday. You might have seen news stories, news videos about this. More men break up with more women on this day than any other. So in America, men spend an average of $217 on Valentine's Day. And by breaking up with a woman, some men figure that they can avoid the whole, buying her a present and taking her out and spending that $217 average. And I guess they're thinking, we'll make up next week and she'll take me back. But it's not just trying to avoid the day. A deeper and obviously much more legitimate reason for both men and women can be that if you're not completely happy in the relationship, holidays like Valentine's and Christmas are even more painful because you're supposed to be in love and you're not. And if she doesn't know how you feel, now you have to fake it. Ugh. And if you both know that something is wrong, then the whole Valentine's Day shtick is just embarrassing and uncomfortable for the two of you. Fully 80% of men say Valentine's Day is always miserable for them. And 83% of women say it's not usually a completely happy day for them either. So yes, men in relationship hate Valentine's Day, and we'll list those top 5 reasons in a moment. But men not in relationship are unhappy on Valentine's Day too, because the day highlights the fact that they have no one. And obviously this can be true for women as well. For women, 2 holidays are associated with a feeling of more angst and unhappiness and disgruntlement and misery than any other. And that is Valentine's Day, when the whole expectation is about being acknowledged as a desirable romantic partner. And those expectations often are not fulfilled. And the other one is Mother's Day, when women are wanting some damn appreciation for what they do as a mother, and things for them fall flat. The amped up expectations created by our consumer society, our dominator model society, our patriarchal society, almost guarantee that no one can meet them. And this is a completely patriarchal construct created to keep us miserable and controlled and spending money to somehow make up for these holes in our lives. So the dominator mindset, which is what we are surrounded by in this culture, works by trying to chop things up into little controllable pieces and then control those pieces and commercialize those pieces. It reminds me of the Roman and Greek goddess Aphrodite or Venus, depending upon Greek or Roman pantheon. She's now known to everybody as the goddess of love, and she's, sensualized and sexualized and pornified. But thousands of years ago, she wasn't this pornified deity that was only a goddess of romantic love. She was a great mother deity that was representative of everything. Her label as the goddess of romantic love that we now know her as came much, much later as patriarchy and the oppression of woman arose. And, if you look at the word romance or romantic itself, there are hidden clues to the hidden crap everywhere right in the dictionary. One definition of romance is baseless, made up stories, usually full of exaggeration or fanciful invention. And for the word romantic, one of the dictionary definitions is fanciful, impractical, unrealistic ideas. And if that doesn't describe modern day Valentine's Day in a patriarchy, nothing does. So these are the hilarious and sad and touching reasons why men hate Valentine's Day. And this is from the surveys online of actual men speaking. Number one, the pressure is way too much. And I will read the actual words. We feel like we are being set up to fail. We screw up and we buy a practical gift like a vacuum or a washer, and then she feels unappreciated romantically, like we're saying she's a housekeeper. So the next year we buy an expensive romantic gift like diamonds, and then we catch hell for wasting money. We know we're going to blow it somehow, and we don't know what to do. We want her to tell us what to do, but she doesn't think that's romantic. So she expects us to read her mind, and we can't. We mess up. Women give us hints, like, a month before Valentine's, but we are too dense. These are men's words. We are too dense to understand that they were hints, or they admit we just weren't paying attention. And we ask our guy friends, and they're just as in the dark as we are, completely useless. So we're desperate to pacify her. What a concept that they just need to pacify us. And it all feels, they say, so stressful, wrong, and pressuring. Number two, we hate being told when to be appreciative of our partner. It becomes another obligation, and it is no fun to simply have to fulfill yet another obligation in the relationship. Three, going out on Valentine's Day with all the other hopeless idiots crowding the restaurants is a drag. We hate the crowds. I can relate. 4, we always get the wrong size, and she's mad that we think she's smaller than she is, and now she feels fat. Or she feels like we're telling her to lose weight to fit into the size 2 thong that we bought her. Or we get something that looks about the right size, and now she's insulted that we bought something huge, and clearly, obviously, we think she's a big whale. Number 5, choosing the right Valentine's Day card is simply out of our pay grade. We think that music card playing we've only just begun is way too corny. So we go for the one with Donna Summer singing, "She works hard for the money," and that doesn't work either. We hate the sappy cards. So we go for the funny ones, and then she's mad that we aren't romantic and that we're somehow just making fun of the whole idea of romance. Women, of course, have issues with Valentine's Day. And I think one of the reasons that is not spoken of much is because Valentine's Day, like Mother's Day, is a sop thrown to women. And it is simply not enough to make up for 364 other days of mistreatment in our misogynist, woman-hating, pussy-grabbing culture. 34% of women would rather watch TV than have sex on Valentine's Day. And why is that? Well, first of all, nobody wants to have sex on a particular day. But really, most women are just too exhausted to fulfill all the fake created ideas of what we are supposed to do on Valentine's Day, like have sex. Mostly because so many of us are unwittingly in the imbalanced aspect of the mother archetype, which is giving and nurturing and loving. But when you stay there too long in that archetype, you tip over into imbalance, into the over-giving mother who is resentful and angry and exhausted. This is part of the Queen teachings that we offer here at the Goddess Temple. You need your Queen archetype to provide some boundaries. The Queen is the archetype that provides boundaries. You need your Queen archetype to provide some boundaries to stop your mother from giving too much for too long. Women in this culture are treated miserably in so many ways, dishonored in so many ways, ignored and erased in so many ways, objectified and commercialized in so many ways, oppressed in so many ways. And so many of us hang our hopes on those 1 or 2 days of the year when we are supposed to be acknowledged, supposed to be honored, supposed to be recognized, supposed to be appreciated, supposed to be treated well. And when we are not, it's just even so much harder. So this is the holiday sop that women in patriarchy are thrown, and we must reject this sop. The solution is not to try to fix Valentine's Day with all its expectations, few of which are ever met. The solution is for women to require good treatment every day from everyone. And then some, Hallmark card made up holiday won't matter a bit. We must stop using romantic partners to project upon. We fall in love with a blank screen. We think we know the person, but listen, if you have not lived with that person for a year, you don't know him. So we fall in love with what is essentially a blank screen. We make all these projections onto that blank screen, and then we are completely disappointed when he doesn't turn out to be all that we made up in our heads, and we are disillusioned. I know you've heard women say, maybe you've even said it yourself, I'm so disillusioned by love. There's nothing wrong with love. What's wrong is that you were set up, you were brainwashed, you were conditioned to expect that someone should make you happy. And when that doesn't happen, because it cannot, you are disillusioned. But, being disillusioned is great. Who wants to live in illusion? He makes me happy. He makes me unhappy. Nobody can do either. So let's let go of that illusion. Let's be disillusioned. Eleanor Roosevelt said, no one can make you feel inferior without your consent. We all know that quote. And no other person can make you anything, actually, except maybe dinner. Yeah, men can make you dinner. That's about it. But they cannot make you happy. They cannot make you unhappy. The most that can happen is that you can choose to spend time with people who are more to your liking than others, with whom you are more in resonance than others. But in the final analysis, your own internal level of happiness is completely up to you, completely your own inside job. And putting that power in any man's hands is our first mistake. We can be pleased or displeased with his actions, but we are truly empowered when nothing he does can ruin our day or our happiness. So let us stop giving our power away to men. Let's stop expecting them to do the impossible, make us happy. Barbra Streisand said of all her sappy love songs that once she learned how to take responsibility for her own happiness, that she could no longer sing all those fabulous songs with those, love lyrics without thinking how stupid they were, which I think is hilarious. And do you know what else she said? She said, I find this very interesting. She said, most awards you have to go and get. They don't just give them to you. So I say, be like Barbara. Go and get your own awards. Don't expect men to mind read. Most of them are not very good at that. Women are really great at mind reading. And so we just take it for granted that men should be able to do it too, but they can't. Only 10%, the aware men of the world, can or have any hope of it. The average men, not so much. So most men really don't know what's going on inside our heads, and we shouldn't expect that they do. At a time other than Valentine's, tell him what you want. Tell him what feels good to you. And don't be swayed by whatever your dominator model culture is advertising, whatever it is telling you to like. I'm one of the rare women who does not care so much for chocolate. I'm just not a chocolate person, but I love flowers. And I love learning. One of my favorite Valentine's gifts was from a man who really got me. He arranged for some very exclusive tickets to a lecture with a very famous teacher who hardly ever spoke, a teacher I really wanted to see. And, you know, you might think, well, that is not very romantic in the conventional sense, but I was completely thrilled and enchanted. And no chocolates had to be involved. So be really clear with the people in your life, whether you're involved with a man or a woman. Be really clear with them what you like and what you appreciate. If we are in the emotional state of yearning for love, we're already in the wrong place. We're already in trouble. Each woman must give to herself first what she wants others to give to her. Otherwise, there's no energetic resonance. If you're grumpy that someone is not appreciating you, it's probably because you are not showing very much appreciation to yourself. If you're resentful that you never get what you want, could it be that you never give yourself what you want? If you're miserable that no one helps you or takes care of you, is it because you do not take care of yourself? Anything we want from others can only happen when there is some kind of energetic vibrational resonance. It has to be in us first before we can see it coming from others. So if you don't have a partner, then get a couple of women friends together and buy flowers for each other. Take each other to dinner. Celebrate each other. If you're not your own Valentine first, you will never really be anybody else's. So here's a thing. Make a list of all that you want a partner to give to you. And then one by one, give those things to yourself first in any way you can. Then you'll be vibrating at the right level to attract someone who also wants to give you those things. But you won't be coming out of need. Neediness is a quality that always energetically pushes things away. The more needy you are, the less chance you have of getting the thing you think you need. But if you give yourself what you want, you will attract others in alignment, and you'll be attracting from a place of energetic resonance. A woman's heart will continue to be broken, one romantic partner after another, until she makes a single, powerful decision. And that decision is to fall in love with herself so completely that everything else is just more love. You are literally the embodiment of Goddess on earth. Fall in love with yourself as Goddess so completely that everything else is just additional frosting on your cake. Some people think this is anti-romantic. I'm not anti-romantic. I'm anti-fake romance. Fake romance is all that we've been talking about. The projections, the denial, the illusions, the giving of your power away to somebody else, the waiting for somebody to do something to make you happy. All of that is what makes up patriarchy's ridiculous idea of romance. Romance is something so much different, so much more. True romance is not projecting onto your partner, but being completely present to who you are and who they are right in this now moment. Allowing them to be new, just like you want the chance to be seen as new. You want that opportunity to change, to be a new person and be seen as that. You know, every day, try looking at your partner as if you just met them for the first time, without all those years of baggage and opinion. All that is weighty, and it sinks romance over time. See them as fresh and new. People tend to live up or down to expectations. So expect the best in them. And if they do not show you their best, then hold boundaries impersonally like a queen if they do something that doesn't work. Never lie to them, but more importantly, don't lie to yourself. If you don't want to have sex, there is a reason why. And having sex when you don't want to is actually just another form of prostitution. So don't prostitute yourself. If you've got a challenge in the relationship, don't, especially with men, don't try to talk them to death to solve it. Talking works with women in relationships pretty well, but much less so with men. Men find women who act more and talk less fascinating and marvelously mysterious. So find a way to act from a place of personal power without any anger or resentment, very impersonally. They're not in charge of your happiness. They don't disturb you. Find a way to act from a place of personal power to communicate to him what is displeasing to you. For example, if you tell him 3 times not to interrupt you, then the 4th time he interrupts you, don't have a fight about it. Don't say anything. Just walk out of the room. And then just be gone for 4 hours. Come back and don't tell him where you were. Just come back cheerful and happy and peaceful, and don't mention the problem. Let him wonder. Let him wonder where the hell you were, what you were doing. Be happy. It'll drive him crazy. Don't talk about the problem when you come back. That almost never works. Just withdraw your precious presence, because your presence in his life is absolutely precious. And withdrawing it is one of the most powerful things you can do to show him that what he's doing is not working to keep you there. So be gone for a while. Go have some fun. Take yourself to a movie, whatever. Just don't yak about it endlessly, because that kills romance. It kills love eventually. It's exhausting. Appreciate your partner every day in some fresh new way. Notice something about them that you've never spoken. Surprise them with your appreciation, because that which you focus on tends to expand. So focus on what you want more of from them, not what you don't like. And more than anything else, every day, fall in love with yourself as goddess embodied, a divine, precious female, a joyful, wild, free maiden, a loving, giving, nurturing mother, a visionary, boundaried, grateful queen, and a wise woman, magical and mysterious and full of wisdom. And no one will be able to resist you. Blessed be.